I'm Sarah Crawford. I am with the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and with my fellow colleagues and I, we'd like to welcome you to the Transportation Land Use Connections Forum. This is the first event of the Regional Peer Exchange Network Forum for the TPB's, the National Capital Region Transportation Planning Board's Regional Peer Exchange Network. This is the first event that we'll be having for this fiscal year. This is the first fiscal year in which we've showcased the network. It's a new event event's not quite the right word, a new forum, I guess, for discussion and dialogue for regional participants in transportation, land use, and other planning. We want to try to increase the dialogue within the TLC program to move beyond just transportation and land use. So in order to sort of ground us in what we'll be discussing today, I wanted to provide a bit of a background on the TLC program. Over 5 years ago, the Transportation Planning Board completed the Regional Mobility and Accessibility Scenario Study. Now, the purpose of this study was to examine possible transportation improvements that are outside of our financially constrained long-range transportation plan and changes in the future proposed land use that could really enhance the performance of our region's transportation network. Some of these scenarios looked at shifting employment and residential growth, future employment and residential growth throughout the region, focusing growth around transit-oriented development, and moving households into the region where we're a job-rich region. So the scenarios looked at this, and they showed improvements in future growth if that development is balanced with innovative transportation improvements. We might think about that today as livable, sustainable, complete communities. So one of the things that the TPB did upon receiving the recommendations from the Regional Mobility and Accessibility Scenario Study was develop the TLC program as a small-scale, an innovative local way to try to spur this change in our communities. So the TLC program was to promote development efforts that bring jobs and housing in closer proximity, focused mixed-use development around transit stations, and really foster better interjurisdictional coordination in our region. And that's one thing that we've learned through the TLC program through the last 5 years, is we've really helped to have these conversations at the local level that really infuse a regional flavor. So the components of the TLC program were two. Back in 2006, the TLC program kicked off with the Regional Clearinghouse and the Technical Assistance Program. And the first technical assistance projects were completed in June 2007. The Regional Clearinghouse component of the TLC program was developed to provide information to agency partners, to decision makers, and to the community in general about innovative approaches to land use and transportation at the national, local, and regional levels. The best practices are organized on our website by these 7 TLC strategies, and they span a broad spectrum of topics and ideas to integrate transportation and land use planning, to build for communities with a mix of uses, to provide for affordable housing, to come up with innovative ways to engage the public in the decision-making process, to provide mobility choices, and to really focus development around the rich transit network that we have in this region, and additionally to improve the health of our communities and the environment. The Technical Assistance Program, by the end of fiscal year 2011, completed 48 technical assistance projects. So the TPB, in conjunction with MDOT, has funded over $1.3 million worth of TLC technical assistance projects. A typical TLC year looks like the TPB provides $220,000 of funding for technical assistance. MDOT has traditionally contributed $100,000 to $130,000 for projects in Maryland that follow Maryland's TOD initiative. Some of the projects range from $20,000 to $60,000. And observed value of the projects are that they're small and they're focused. You can't really expand the scope of a project for less than $60,000. They're very quick. It's almost like a planning SWAT team coming in and finishing a project because they have to be finished within the fiscal year that they were begun. So most project timeframes span about 6 to 8 months. And I think the real benefit, as I mentioned earlier, is the coordination that comes through these small, locally focused projects, but because COG is involved, we lend a regional lens to these projects as well. So that brings me to the TLC Regional Peer Exchange Network. As I mentioned, this will be the third new component to the TLC program. We decided to add this component, the TPB did, that is, for two reasons. Last year we conducted an assessment of the TLC program, and this was one of the recommendations that we heard, that we use all of the information that we've gathered, whether it be through the Clearinghouse or through the technical assistance projects, and find a way to provide this information in a lively format to regional stakeholders. But we also heard from participants in the TLC program, from people who've received these grants saying, well, this was a real benefit to me, but I want to know what happened in another community that I might learn from for my community. The Regional Peer Exchange Network will complement the Clearinghouse and the Technical Assistance Program by providing a mechanism to showcase the technical assistance projects, but also explore diverse TLC topics that we might not yet have touched on at this point. And we hope to create a forum for regional dialogue on strategies that support these TLC linkages that the TPB hoped to create when it founded the TLC program 5 years ago. So at this point, we're at this forum, and we are so very lucky to have 7 presenters, speakers with us today. For this first event, we selected 7 TLC projects out of the 48 that we've completed. And the reason we selected these projects is to showcase the diversity of the 48 TLC projects we've completed. And by diversity, I mean diversity of topic, diversity of geography. We wanted to show projects from around the region, projects that identified recommendations for both inner and outer jurisdictions, for small and large jurisdictions. And we wanted to invite a mix of speakers today. So you'll hear from applicants, and you'll also hear from consultants. We feel that this will provide a really diverse, interesting perspective on a lot of these projects that we've completed. And we also hope that future events in the Regional Peer Exchange Network will showcase the additional projects that we have in our repertoire. So the format for today, we're going to loosely follow what is called a Pecha event, 7 presentations, 7 minutes each. So that means we are going to be moving in a fast-paced, dynamic manner to get through these projects, and I think our speakers are up to the task. I would ask you if you would hold all of your questions until all 7 speakers have presented. I know that might be hard because a lot of these, or all of them actually, are quite thought-provoking. So if you do have some questions and you don't want to forget them, there are some index cards and pencils over on the side if you'd like to get them, so you can jot your questions down and be ready to ask the speakers once we've gone through all of the presentations. Very briefly, I'd just like to introduce the speakers so you know who you'll be hearing from today. We have Jason Groth from Charles County, Carol Ketchadorian from Tool Design Group, Jamie Brott from the NOMA BID, Rick Canizales from Prince William County, Stephanie Dennis from Nelson Nygaard, Elliot Roadside of Roadside in Harwell, and Wendy Block-Sanford of the City of Falls Church.